I love Black Sabbath and I love Ozzy. So today we're making a tier list. We're going to be ranking all of the Black Sabbath albums that include Ozzy as the lead singer, as well as all of Ozzy's solo career albums. So normal tier list, S through F, S being perfection, F being trash. So we're going to be starting things off right with where it all started, the debut album that invented heavy metal as we know it. So obviously this is a legendary album. It's really hard for me to not put it in S, but I think I'm going to go A with it for now. And that's just because some of these albums I think I'm going to be putting in S that's a little bit better, and I don't quite put this in the same league as. But this is a awesome freaking album. And with each of these, I'm going to be giving my favorite track off of each album too. And make sure to put y'all's in the comments too. I'm curious what your favorite song on each of these albums are. So mine for this one is going to be NIB, which Black Sabbath is a close runner-up, but I give the edge slightly to NIB. That's one of my favorite Sabbath tunes. And then next we got Paranoid. They kept the ball rolling right into this one. Released it like not even a year after the debut album was released. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that is true anyway. Like, this came out in 70 or 71, right? I'm going straight to S tier with Paranoid. This is a legendary album. I've got the old vinyl here that my father gifted me. Absolutely legendary album. My favorite track on here is going to be War Pigs, but it's a no-skip album for sure. I think a lot of people would agree that a lot of people might put this as their favorite. Paranoid, Electric Funeral, Fairies Wear Boots. You could pick any of those really, but I'm going to give the edge to War Pigs, one of my favorites. And then they went right into Master of Reality. It's crazy how in the early days they were really pumping these albums out fast, like with no time in between hardly. But this is where they started to tune down, C sharp, and this might be my favorite Black Sabbath album. So I'm going S tier with this one as well. Got the CD copy here. It's hard to choose, and it might change as I go through phases and, like different albums. But as of right now, I think this might be my favorite. Favorite track on here has probably got to be Into the Void, but it's a no-skip album as well. So, I mean, you could pick any of these. Lord of this World, After Forever, Children of the Grave. I even really like Solitude. I would put that in the same boat as like Planet Caravan. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know, but I think Solitude's underrated. And then up next we got Volume 4. Another one of my favorites here. And I think I got to go straight to S tier with it as well. I'm going to try to not be putting everything in S tier. But early Sabbath, man, it's too good, This is another no-skip album. Aside from maybe this has the weird track on it, FX. Maybe that's a skip. But everything else is pure gold on this album, man. My favorite song is probably going to be Supernaut. But Under the Sun, Tomorrow's Dream, Cornucopia, like, it's hard to choose. But I really like Supernaut. I think that's a very iconic one. Like, when I see this album, I think of that song. And then we got Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Also got a CD of this one here. So like I said, they were really pumping these albums out fast in the early days. When was this one, like 74? 73? It must have been 74 or even 5, right? Because this was their 5th album. And hard to choose, but I think I would put this one in A tier. Put this in the same tier as their debut album. It's definitely a legendary album. And my favorite song is a toughie, man. But might think I'm crazy, but I think I would go National Acrobat over Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. But it's close between those two. But National Acrobat is just an awesome freaking song. And on a awesome album for sure. I think from what I've heard, this is where things were kind of starting to go downhill for them. Like they were at the peak of their craziness with drugs and starting to get into some disagreements and stuff. So it might be kind of where things started to go downhill. And they were starting to consider splitting up or getting rid of Ozzy or whatever. But obviously they put out three more albums since then. So next would put us at Sabotage, which is a pretty solid album. It's a great album for sure. I think I would go A tier as well. I wouldn't say it's as good. I'd say this is my least favorite so far, but it's still a great album. So it's low A tier, almost B for me. I like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and the debut album more for sure. But my favorite track would probably be Symptom of the Universe, but Hole in the Sky is great too. And some of the weirder songs too, like Am I Going Insane and stuff, is still good, really cool, but they kind of started to sound a little different, change gears, I feel like, with some of those. And there's nothing wrong with that. But solid album for sure. Gonna be A tier. And up next we got Technical Ecstasy, which I've really never been a huge fan of, if I'm being honest. It's solid, but to me it just sounds like they started to really kind of change, and it doesn't really sound like Sabbath to me. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, if that makes sense. Like, it's solid. So I think I'd go B. That's really the best way I can describe it, is it's solid. It's not great. But we'll go B tier with it. And favorite song. That's kind of a tough one, I guess. Maybe Dirty Woman. I mean, they're all just kind of middle of the road to me, honestly. I haven't listened to that one as much. Maybe I should. And then Ozzy's last album with them, until 13, of course. So what would that be? Like, this was his last album with them for 40 some years. Never Say Die. I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty controversial one. I would probably also go in B, but it's low B. Yeah, I'd say B. I really put it in the same boat as Technical Ecstasy. I don't know which one I prefer. I mean, I quite like the song Never Say Die on this album, but then the rest is really just mid to me. Like, I know some people would pick Junior's Eyes, maybe even Johnny Blade as their favorite on here, but it's like Never Say Die is a pretty cool track, and then the rest is just mid to me. But it's still a solid album. It's still good. Like, anything up here is, I mean, F is the only bad. I'm thinking like F is bad, D is like not so good, and then C is alright. B is still good. A is great, and S is perfect. So anything from the first 8 is good. But compared to the rest of these are like the worst, in my opinion. So that wraps up Sabbath, at least until 13, right? So now we're to Ozzy's solo career. After things fell out with Sabbath kicking him out after Never Say Die, and him finally getting back on his feet to release Blizzard of Oz, which is an awesome kickstart to a great solo career. Legendary album. I'm going S tier for sure. I'd say his most famous song is probably Crazy Train, right? So got his most famous on there, and then Mr. Crowley is probably up there too. Personally, I would put Mr. Crowley, as my favorite on this album, but Crazy Train and I Don't Know are good honorable mentions. And of course, he's got the legendary Randy Rhoads for that, and Diary of a Madman, which was just like peak Ozzy, man. Him and Randy. So Diary of a Madman, I guess I would put in A. Tempted to put it in S, but to me it's just not quite on the level of these albums. Not quite as good as Blizzard, but it's very, very close. So I'm gonna put it like high A, almost S. Favorite song on here probably have to be Flying High again, but Over the Mountain is close runner up. And yeah, just great. Like I said, him and Randy. It's just like peak Ozzy. When I think of Ozzy, I think of Blizzard and Diary. And I obviously wish Randy could have done more, and we could have seen more out of him. It's a serious shame that he was taken way too early. But for the 2 albums we got to witness him on with Ozzy, he was one of the best, man. One of the greats, for sure. So then we got Bark at the Moon, now with Jakey Lee, after Randy's passing. This is a really solid album, but I would not put it as high as Diary or Blizzard. But I think I would go A tier, I'd put this higher than like Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy. So it's like low A. Jakey Lee was an excellent guitar player for sure. Unfortunately, on this album, he was not able to get the rights to the songs that he wrote, And then on Ultimate Sin, I guess they, from what I'd heard, kind of fixed the contract, or he had made sure to get one where he got the rights. So he was kind of screwed on Bark at the Moon, but then got it on Ultimate Sin. But anyway, Bark at the Moon, I'm going to put low A tier. The title track is definitely going to be my favorite. I think this is one of those albums where the title track is really awesome, and the rest of it's kind of mid. I like Rock and Roll Rebel. Like, that's kind of that'd be my honorable mention. Bark at the Moon would be my favorite, and then that would probably be second, and the rest is just kind of mid. But it's still a really solid album. And like I said, better than Never Say Die and Technical Ecstasy, in my opinion. So, keeping things going with The Ultimate Sin. I still really like this album. I feel like it's, from what I've heard, it kind of gets a lot of hate. A lot of people might put it as like the worst Ozzy album. I think I actually heard Ozzy say this was his least favorite, but I think it's pretty solid. I think I would still go A tier. Maybe not as good as Bark the Moon, so we'll go right behind it there in low A. But it's just really about a tie for me with Ultimate Sin and Bark the Moon. But it's kind of the same story. Like, the song Ultimate Sin is probably my favorite on this album, and then Shot in the Dark is right there too with it. And then the rest is just kind of mid, in my opinion. So now we're on to another guitarist here. Now Ozzy has got Zakk Wylde. First album was Zakk Wylde. And this is a great album. And obviously Zakk's great. This is when he's young and full of drive, and he was really, really great fit for Ozzy, I think. So, No Rest for the Wicked. I think I would go in A tier as well here. I would probably put it right above The Ultimate Sin. So, right in between Bark the Moon and The Ultimate Sin there. Favorite song on here would definitely be Miracle Man. But There's some other good bangers on here. It's a pretty solid album. Might even put it in front of Bark the Moon, maybe like that. So I'm not necessarily keeping everything in order with the tiers. I kind of am here. So if I were to clean up these, I'd probably just do that, like Master, then Paranoid, then Volume 4, then Blizzard. And yeah, I think we'll put Never Say Die in front of Techno Ecstasy. So that's pretty accurate there. Anyway, No Rest for the Wicked. This is a really solid album. And we got No More Tears, which I believe was released in 91. This is a very iconic Ozzy album here. One of the best in my opinion. I'm going S tier for sure. I mean, this is just a legendary album. I'll put it where it's at in S. I still take Blizzard and the rest of these over it, I think, but like as far like my favorite solo Ozzy album is probably tied between Blizzard and No More Tears. This is a awesome album. As far as my favorite track, it's almost too hard to choose, but I guess I would give it to the title track, No More Tears. But I Don't Want to Change the World and The Road to Nowhere I really like too, and Mama I'm Coming Home. I mean, it's nothing but bangers. This is a no-skip album. One of the best for sure. Then we got Osmosis. This is one of those I really haven't listened to as much as the rest of these. And it's starting to get into that kind of mid category to me. But I mean it's pretty solid still. I think I'd put it in A. I might put it at the top of it. Or, I mean B. I put it at the top of B. It's a pretty solid album. But it's just kind of in the category of Never Say Die. Like, a couple really good bangers. And then just kind of mid after that. Favorite track on here is probably going to be Perry Mason. I think most people would agree. I mean, that See You on the Other Side is pretty good too, and I Just Want You. Perry Mason, I think, would be my favorite though. So then we got Undercover, so an Ozzy album of covers. And again, we're just, like I said, kind of getting to that stage of pretty mid albums, in my opinion. Favorite song on here has got to be Perry Mason, I would say. But I Just Want You, pretty good. See You on the Other Side, pretty good. So next we got Ozzy's Undercover, which is an album of covers, obviously. And if I'm being honest, really just not a big fan. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's one of those albums that's like once in a while you might listen to someone and be like, yeah, it's kind of cool. But like if I'm going to listen to Ozzy, like this isn't what I'm looking for, you know? I would probably go... Honestly, if I got to put one in F, it's probably going to be this one. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, but like I want to keep things kind of balanced here, you know? So to kind of set a bar for bad, I guess, we'll put this one at the bottom. And yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think, but I don't think it's all that. And as far as a favorite track, I don't know, man. Maybe what's that? Shoot, he's got like Mississippi Woman, and I guess favorite would be Sympathy for the Devil, but really just not a big fan. Then we got Down to Earth. This one was cool. Like, I think it had some kind of heavier sounding songs, but it was just not all that to me. I like Gets Me Through is alright. That's probably my favorite on here, I guess. The rest is really just pretty mid. Like I said, some of them kind of sound kind of cool and heavy, but I would go C. Not a huge fan. It's not bad. So I think C is kind of it's alright tier. And then Black Rain. This one isn't bad. This is a pretty good one. But I'm probably I'll go B. Favorite song would definitely be I Don't Want to Stop. That's a really good song. Pretty iconic. Kind of a hype song, I guess, for Ozzy. And The Almighty Dollar is pretty cool too. But I would go B. Almost in the same as this, but we'll put it in low B. So then we got Scream. I don't remember when this one came out. What was it like? Probably like 2010 or something. And really not a big fan of it. I would almost put it in F2, but I think I'm going to go D because, I would probably rather put this on than Undercover. Now we got 13. So this is a really interesting one. After, what was it, like 40 years later or something. No, shoot, it wouldn't. Would have been like 35 years, right? That Black Sabbath was not together, and then they came back to make this thing. So this is a really interesting one to me. I think it's pretty cool, pretty solid. I think what's really cool about it is that they were not together for that long. And, obviously Sabbath going with a bunch of different singers. And then Ozzy doing his solo stuff. And then all reunite in 2013 to put out something that really sounds pretty reminiscent of the old stuff. So I think that's really, really cool. There's a lot of pretty cool doomy riffs on there that sound reminiscent of, Volume 4, Master Reality, and like something on the debut album. Favorite track I would say would be, honestly, Peace of Mind, I think, for me. The what's the first one, like End of the Beginning, sounds really reminiscent of Black Sabbath on the debut album. And that's a cool one too, but I think I give the edge to Peace of Mind. But man, a lot of cool riffs on there that, like I said, sound reminiscent of the old days. I think I would put this in solid B tier. It's not the OG Sabbath, but pretty cool. So I would go high B tier. I'll put it above all these, I think. And so then we got Ozzy's last two. Ordinary Man. I don't really know how to feel about this one. This is a pretty interesting one. I feel like there was kind of some like poppy, hip-hoppy stuff going on, and it just doesn't seem like Ozzy, but it's cool, I guess, for him in his later years of his career to put out something like that with different features. You got Post Malone, Elton John, a lot of different people featured on this one. For a favorite song, I guess I would go with Straight to Hell. That one's pretty cool riffage, and one of the ones that's not kind of poppy or hip hoppy or whatever. Sounds a little more Ozzy like to me. So I guess I'll go C tier. I'll put it in with Down to Earth here. And lastly, we've got Patient Number 9 here. Ozzy's last album. But will this be his last album? What do you guys think? You think there's any chance of Sabbath getting together and doing one last album, or just Ozzy doing one last solo one? I don't know. I kind of thought there'd be no way, but then I heard some rumors. And I thought, well, after Back to the Beginning, Black Sabbath getting together and putting out another studio album, I mean, it'd be easier on them than like trying to do a tour. Maybe even easier than just the whole Back to the Beginning thing. I don't know. I mean, if they did that, why couldn't they get together and do a studio album? So if they wanted to, I feel like that's still a possibility. But for now, this is the last Ozzy album we got here, and it's pretty cool. It's all right. I was listening to it today, and I don't really know how to feel about it exactly. I guess I would put it in C tier. It's not bad, It's not bad at all, but obviously it's not going to compare to them in the 80s and 70s, But the song Patient Number 9, I guess, might be my favorite. I mean, it's kind of hard to choose. Parasites was cool. But yeah, I'd say Patient Number 9 would be my favorite on here. But let me know what you guys think. This is a tier list. I don't think I'm going to change anything on here. I think this is the finished product. So I guess my top 5 favorite would be Master of Reality, Paranoid, 4, Blizzard, and No More Tears. But yeah, this was pretty interesting to make, pretty fun. And let me know what you guys think. This is obviously pretty subjective, I'm kind of trying to halfway be like, halfway my opinion, halfway not, like halfway just what I think is objectively good and what other people are going to think. But it's pretty hard to not just like, put your opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, it's music. It's all going to be your opinion. But yeah, if you guys want to make this tier list, you can find it here on the tier list website. I just searched up like Sabbath albums or something and found this. Figured I'd do this because, like I said, I'm a big Sabbath fan and a big Ozzy fan. And I'm not as familiar with Sabbath stuff with all the other singers they went through. So I didn't want to do one of all the Black Sabbath albums. So this one had, if you think about it, this is basically all of Ozzy's work here. All of his studio work with Sabbath and with his solo career. So that's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. And that's it.